So when you had mentioned about the crazy world going so crazy, the expectation of that crazy was, to one level, and you so lovingly always say, and we don't expect so much. But then when it happens, internally also there's a lot of that ups and downs that comes because of the external. But the way that the tools that have come in here has been so handy. I would want to talk about a recent job thing that came by, and initially it was so difficult to let go of the control of the mind and me being handling it. And when it came down, when I asked for Swami for surrender, and when I went and did an interview, I don't remember what happened in that interview. So that allowed me to be in that state of not knowing what happened there, but at least I know Swami took over. And it is like me doing it. And that was one thing that came across to me, that while you ask Swami to, while we seek to say help surrender, because it doesn't come so easily, because we are always wanting to have that control, and just asking Swami to help surrender helped in that situation. And the second one that helped after these 2 weeks was um, coming from the space of love. Whatever I was doing, to be able to do it from here. And when that happened, even though the outside world was affecting so much, you have so much of love that is coming from inside. And then also to know that it is all internal. That was something beautiful. And the third one was, I don't know to what extent this is right, but recently we had a lot of festivals going on. So I was sitting in those pujas and all of that. So one was Varamalakshmi and even the Shravan Mas, right? So I would think that I am the Devi sitting along and doing puja for myself. So, but then it would switch. You'd go out, come in, that duality of whether I'm the Devi or not or so. But just knowing that, coming back to that sense that I am
I
that.
am God.
Yeah,
Yes.
that kind of helps. So I'm putting in that practice of identifying myself, not as a body, but me being, that Devi or whatever I'm worshipping for that moment. Swami.
Yes. Keep telling yourself constantly, I am not the mind, I am not the mind, I am not the mind. Oh, thank you, Swami, thank goodness I'm not the mind. No? I'm not the mind. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my past. I'm not my memories. I'm not the things that happened to me. I am not the body. I am pure consciousness. I am pure awareness. I am pure bliss. I am that. Right? That, keep remembering, keep reminding yourself. See, this is the ceaseless effort. Recently we had the Olympics that got finished, right? So I was so happy. I love sports. And then the Olympics got over. Now, what happens to all those athletes? They train for a certain time so that their performance peaks during the competition, and then they recover for some time until the next competition goes along. So their way of doing their sport, their training is like this, up and down. But for sadhakas, it's not like that. There's no gap in your sadhana. There's no difference in your sadhana. Your sadhana is continuous. That's what Swami means by ceaseless effort. Now the thing is, and you need to understand this, the reason you think you need to do sadhana is because you identify with the body. Yeah? The only reason why you need to do sadhana is because you identify with the body. When you identify with God and you know that you are always God, then there is no sadhana to be done. It's just a matter of going deeper and deeper into that awareness. That's all. If you want to realize God, if you want to know yourself as the truth, just be still. Right? But all these sadhanas, like we said, what they do is they quieten those vasanas. They remove the negative qualities. They allow you to be still. And once you become still, then it's like obvious. And then you'll be like, man, like I did, like, man, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what was I thinking? And then you just laugh. At least for me, I just laughed at myself and just become the self. And that peace that you get, it's, well, you guys are making so much sacrifice, no? Really, you're sacrificing a lot. That peace, that bliss, it's indescribable. You're sacrificing so much by identifying with the body. You're giving up so much by identifying with the body. You're losing that bliss, that joy, that peace. It's there's no way to describe it. It's just what you are. But don't try to be the one who experiences bliss. Don't try to be the one who experiences love or peace. Be that peace. Be that bliss. That's the mistake that you had made. Yeah? It's a common mistake. And I'm telling you because I've made this mistake. That's why I can tell you. There's probably some mistakes you're making that I'm not aware of. Well, no, I'm sure I've made all the mistakes. I'm sure there's more mistakes we made. But practice, no? Be that bliss. Be that peace. Be that love, and see how it changes. So that's probably what happened to you into your interview, is you went into that state of just being instead of doing, and then it took care of itself. Yeah. Okay, so all of these are tools. I'm going to give you one special tool today. You can put the mic away for a little bit. I'm going to put my glasses on. By the way, when Swami asks you, where are you from? What's the correct answer? From Swami. And when he asks you, how old are you? What's the correct answer? How old are you? What's the correct answer? I am eternal. I am eternal. Okay. So there are certain tools that we've been given. We like the cutting the ties that bind method. We suggest chanting of whatever tradition you have, meditation, prayer, right? These are things, japa, reciting the name. There's one very powerful tool I'm going to share with you. I've not talked about this, but I'd like to share this with you. It's called the Ribu Gita, R-I-B-H-U, Gita, Ribu Gita. And this is a text, a sacred text. It describes the discussion of the sage Ribu with a very divine aspirant named Nigada. So Ribu was the son of Brahma, and he was created to become the progenitor, to create more beings that would then populate creation. But Ribu, when he was born, had great detachment, and he was like, nah, I'm not going to do that stuff, So nothing happened. So then Brahma sent him away because he wasn't doing his job. He was supposed to get married, have children, all that stuff, and he's like, nothing doing. So then he went to Lord Shiva, and Shiva took pity on him and taught him the Brahma Vidya. And he became enlightened very quickly, doing tapasya for a long time before Shiva, until Shiva finally took pity on him. And with Parvati by his side, Shiva taught Ribu the Brahma Vidya. Then, after some time, this aspirant, Nigada, comes. And then Ribu teaches Nigada the Brahma Vidya. And that is what is contained in the Ribu Gita. You can get this book at the Sri Ramana Maharshi Ashram. Just go online, go to their bookstore, and buy the version that has this lingam in the front and Sri Ramana Maharshi. That's the version to get, because that has... See, you have to realize that when books are written, once in a while, I'll tell you something esoteric here. When books are written, once in a while they have something that in Sanskrit we call Aida, A-I-D-A, Aida. That means the spiritual power of the author. So if you've read autobiography of a yogi, you would have felt the spiritual power of Paramahansa Yogananda. That's that Aida that he has. This Ribu Gita also has that spiritual power. And so just reading it is enough to raise your consciousness. In fact, there was an old devotee, a lady who was illiterate, named Sampurnama in the Ramana Ashram. And Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gave this book to her for her to recite. And she said, but Swamiji, I'm a illiterate, uneducated woman. I don't know anything. This book is for pundits and, well-educated people. And Ramana Maharshi said, it doesn't matter. Just by reading it, even if you don't understand it, it will be of help. So what I do in my meditation, like today, I'll tell you exactly what I did. I meditated for an hour and a half, like I usually do. And then I ended by reading some chapters from this. And that's enough. That's enough to put you in that state that I am the self. So I'm going to read a few stanzas from this. Yeah, can we listen together? What I'd like you to do is just to close your eyes. I'm going to read a bit slowly because I want you to take it in. Even if you don't understand, it's really okay. Just pay attention to the consciousness with which the words have come. This is from chapter 30. And this is Ribu speaking to his disciple Nigada. And Ribu says, I shall speak about the Supreme, that is Brahman, the God Self, along with renunciation of the world. By one who hears this, even once, the Supreme Brahman is attained. Brahman, the God Self, is supported by Brahman alone, attributeless, without blemishes, permanent, poised, and absolute. There is nothing apart from Brahman. I am truth, the joy of beyond, pure, eternal, and taintless. All indeed is only Brahman, and that Brahman am I. There is no doubt of this. I am the singular, undivided essence, ever perfect in every way. Brahman is everything. Nothing else is. All is Brahman. There is no doubt of this. I am the unitary self always. All is eternally Brahman. I am the form of bliss alone. Nothing else is permanent. I am the nature of pure bliss. I am the pure wisdom of the self. I am of a uniform nature. I am the pure internal knowledge, and I alone am the refuge. All is indeed only Brahman. There is no doubt of this. I am that Brahman. Of this, there can be no doubt. I am devoid of multiple themes. Oneness too does not exist. Oneness too does not exist. All is indeed Brahman. There is no doubt of this. I am that Brahman. Of this there can be no question. I am of all possible forms, devoid of even the term all. All is indeed Brahman. There is no doubt of this. And I am that Brahman. Of this there can be no question. I am of the form of blemishless knowledge. Even I does not exist. I am of the nature of the pure Brahman, bereft of the word pure. I am of the nature of eternal joy. I am ever the bliss of knowledge. I am more subtle than the subtlest. So, Ribu Gita. Can all feel the power? Yes? Very strong, no? That is the Aida, A-I-D-A, Aida, the spiritual power with which Ribu Gita is written. So what I'd like you to do is to go and buy this book, read a few stanzas every day for about 3, 4, 5 minutes. Don't worry about understanding everything that's written there, but just contemplate on what is there. And from time to time, these things will hit you, and it'll be like, wow. And it'll just change your consciousness, right? These tools are helpful as long as you are not able to identify permanently with the self. The ceaseless effort that we discussed is not so much sadhana, 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 sadhana. The ceaseless effort, the real ceaseless effort, is constant identification with the self. That is ceaseless effort. Yes? Right? Understand. The real ceaseless effort is not to say, I will do japa, I will to chant Gayatri so many times. All that is good. It calms down the vasanas. But the real ceaseless effort is constant identification with the self, the capital self, the Brahman.